Assalamu alaikum. Hello everyone. Welcome to a special seminar on research paper writing and publication powered by ISAB Unit Phase. First of all, I'd like to congratulate ISAB that they have turned into their 9th anniversary. On behalf of that, here we have arranged a very special seminar from uh, where we can able to know uh, the A to Z about research paper and the method of publications. Today, we do have a very special guest with us. So before introducing him, I would like to give my introduction that myself Abdul Mamun, and I have the privilege to be here host today for this seminar. And we do have a very special guest with us today, and he's also the speaker of this seminar, and he's none other than Shudipta Das Bhaiya. He's an ex-Serbian. His batch was 14-2, and he did his internship in Intel for 1 year, and now he is currently completing his MSc in IIT Indore. So without any further ado, let's introduce our honorable speaker, Shubhitash Bhaiya. Bhaiya, can you hear me?
Yes, Mamun, I can hear you.
So welcome to our seminar named Research Paper Writing and Publications, and we are very much proud and we are very much pleased to have you with us.
Thank
So
you,
how are
Mamun.
you feeling and how are you actually?
Sorry, I couldn't
So
hear you.
how,
The last line.
okay, so how are you actually and how is your days going in this international pandemic?
Okay. So, first of all, thank you very much for asking the question. And nowadays, the lockdown situation.
Yes,
Uh, yeah, things are going normally, but I think job sector has impacted very highly, as I was in one of the greatest technology giant as an internship. Uh, as an intern. So what happened there also I have seen. I thought can companies like that will not sack out people or stop
yes,
recruiting, but I have seen this scenario in front of my
yes,
eyes. It's really frustrating. So that's all over situation. And also within this lockdown, I came back in Bangladesh just 1 month ago. So that was another
okay.
journey. Yeah.
All right.
So I think we should start. First of all, I thought it would be an interactive session, and then I've heard that it's going to be a formal seminar. So I have
Yes.
tried to gather the information in a slide. So
Okay.
though it's a seminar, but take it as an information sharing session.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll try my best to give you some information, especially for the beginners
Yes,
who are
yes.
who are
That's
already
what
lost in the
we
jungle.
did thought to make this seminar. Yes.
Yeah, who are already lost in the jungle to start writing as research paper writing. Just to give
Yes.
them a start, because it depends on experience.
Yes.
The people I
Obviously.
was working on with, the people I was working on with, their mostly PhD students, maybe MSc final year students or done already. Postdoc students also were there, so they are much more experienced than me, so they have much more actually your writing depends on your experience only. Still, I'll try to give my best so that you can at least start your writing
Yes.
as soon
That's
as possible.
we do
Yeah.
hope so. So, without any further ado, we can start our seminar, our main session. So, I would like to request you to start the slide and speech. Thank you.
Yep. So I'm directly starting the slides here from here.
All right.
Please now let me know if you can see my screen.
It's not. I'm not watching
It's
any
not
kind
visible.
of slides. Yes, yes. Now I can see that.
Now I
Okay,
can see. Okay.
Bhaiya, then you can start. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. So we're starting from here. As all you know, so our topic today is a review on scientific research paper writing. So I'm going to directly start right now. Introduction part is already done here. Um, so at first, I want to give you a very overview of the scenario from where to start and where will you end. Not about writing, from about starting your job to write a paper. So first of all, you have to select your topic. So I think almost all of you 40 students already have selected your topic. You are doing your research on it. You are writing a thesis paper already. So topic is already done. Yet again, it's important you select a topic that you can continue for long run, like for your masters, for your PhD as well. The reason I'm saying this is obviously you are going to add in your CV that you have published this paper in this journal or that journal, or some conference papers in some conferences. So it will have much more impact when your topic of masters or your PhD relates with the paper that you have already published. That's why selecting a topic is much more important. Sometimes it happens that we don't like the topic that much, but still it's a very much promising topic. Like nowadays, everyone is going after AI, machine learning, all those things. Some people maybe they don't like machine learning at all. They don't like those kinds of algorithm and all. So you have to manage yourself according to that. Yes, you keep some topic and try to bring your topic as close as possible with the trend. It's important that industries are running in which way you should follow that one also. So that's all about selecting topic. And then when you will decide to write a paper, obviously first go through the journals or conferences that you want to attend. So this is your first official task, that find out the conference that you want to attend and give yourself some time. Like you are going to select a conference, maybe the submission date is within 15 days, and you are just writing your thesis or doing your research. You haven't touched anything yet or anything about your paper yet. So that's not a good idea. So always try to select a conference that will be held within 2 or 3 months, and give yourself that much time at least, so that you can easily finish your work politely and nicely and submit in due time. You all know the conference. Maybe you don't know that conference papers have a specific timeline, that within this timeline you have to submit, and within another timeline they will give a review, and you have to answer those within another timeline, and there will be a fixed date to present your paper. In terms of journal, it's kind of different case. I have collected some questions from Vifteka, one of your coordinator. So I'll answer this difference between journal and conference paper at the end of this presentation. And then comes background study. So once you have selected your topic, selected your conference, where you're going to attend, what you're going to do, then first job is your background study, means reading the paper. So before writing a paper, you obviously have to read a lot of paper related to your research. So there is also a question about this, that how to start the reading. So it's maybe you guys, some of you guys know about Google Scholar. If you search directly in the Google about your research topic or research area, you will not find that much of paper, but you'll find some information from some websites. That's kind of okay to gather some information, but that's not okay to have proper information and know in depth. And it can happen that the information is not actually right, what you are collecting from different kind of websites. But in published journals or published papers, they have already reviewed, they have already signed it that it's true, it's happening. So that's kind of authentic article that you can refer easily, and through that way you can start your writing or your research, whatever, in the next step. So this background study is very important. That's why I'm saying you have to have a very clear idea that what you are going to do. So the option is that I was talking about. Don't directly search in Google. Go to first Google Scholar, then search your research area. Like maybe you are interested to research something related to circuit. So which kind of circuit, analog circuit or digital circuit, just write it in the Google Scholar. You will find a lot of paper there, especially the recent papers and the top rated papers will come first. So try to go through this. And how to trace, like if you pick up a paper, it might happen that you don't understand the paper, or you just reading. And so how to read, it is true for reading and writing both, that you always give attention to its abstract and conclusion. That's how you can find easily that what this paper is going to talk about, is it related to your research or not. So that's the first suggestion: go to Google Scholar and search your research area. That's how you will do your background study. Then when you are writing, keep in mind that you have to attract the reader till the end of your paper. So your writing should be spontaneous. It should not include 2 or 3 separate interests, and it should not distractive, right? It should not. Let's say you are talking about story one, and then suddenly you jump into story two. It shouldn't happen. If you are talking about story one, you should give a thriller about it, in trailer about it, like a movie, and then take the reader till the end of your paper. Give only the related information. It's very specific. It's in terms of conference paper, it's 3 to 4 pages matter. So all the related information gist will come here. Maybe some of you have already writing or already have written thesis, so you have you generally include a lot of thing in thesis. So thesis paper, you can do such kind of thing that include some side information, some little bit less important information. But in conference paper, you cannot do that. It have to be exactly what you want to say. That's it. Then comes proper referencing. I'll talk about referencing at the end of my presentation with more details, with more examples. Just keep in mind that what you do in thesis paper, in thesis book, don't do the same thing in journals. I've seen a lot of people that they do uh, keep a lot of references which are not related. They just try to fill up the pages. Keep in mind that in terms of journal or conference paper, each and every line and each and every page is very, very important. Everything will be reviewed and everything should be related. You cannot just guess and give a reference to anybody. It's not good, and it's not ethical as well. So I'm going to my next slide. Here comes a question to you: why to write a research paper? So ideally, the idea comes first to improve your knowledge base and for your research purpose findings. These are the reasons. Ideally, this kind of idea came up, that research paper, publishing research paper. But what's happening practically right now is we write research paper for funding, promotion, and recognition. Though I think some of you guys already surprised that what kind of finding we'll get, what is the promotion thing and recognition thing. So what happens actually, as you go to the next level of study, you'll see generally the labs are owned by some professors or assistant professors. They hire PhD students or MSc students for research with full funding sometimes. So how they get the funding? They get the fund from different kind of government and private organizations. In fact, companies like Samsung, Apple, they also fund a lot of laboratories for their research. Like let's say Samsung need a bending display, so they'll not do their all research in their all research in their research lab. They will also fund some very promising laboratories for the research. That's how they get the funding. Then how they select the laboratory? There the publication comes. They see they try to figure out that which laboratory is very much active, who are publishing frequently papers related to their research, related to their topic they want to find out. So they fund those professors and laboratory for further research, and from that money, actually, professors and related persons hire other people like PhD students and MSc students, sometimes PhD students also, that we call fully funded uh, study. That's how actually professors get the funding to take some fully funded study, give some scholarship to other students. And the last point is for development of our career. That's the most interesting point for us, because this stage I'm talking about the fourth year students of our country. We are doing it for development of our career, because in this stage, if we can publish a paper, at least one conference paper, then it will be added to our CV. And trust me, it will help you for your further higher studies. Because when a professor will pick up your study, he will pick up your CV. He will see that yes, you can write a paper, you have already published it. So that's a very positive point for you to get fully funded for your next study. Moving to the next slide. So here I have talked about the writing procedure. So from here, I'll give a broad idea about each and every section of a general structure of a research paper. So here you get the general structure. First comes title, then you write abstract and keywords. Keywords is optional. It sometimes is there and it's sometimes not there. Depends on the conference or journal paper you are going to publish. Remember, in every conference and journal paper, whatever you have selected, they give a template and rules list that you have to maintain. They will talk about everything. They will give you font size, they will give you organization of your section, paper limits, and everything. They'll give information about everything. You just need to follow them. That's it. They can vary from conference to conference, journal to journal. And then comes introduction, then comes methods, results, discussion, conclusion. After that, acknowledgement. This is also optional. In some paper you need it, in some paper you don't. After that comes reference. So here at a glance, that what are the main gist thing you have to mention in each section. Like in abstract, you have to answer that what did you do in a nutshell. Means let's compare it with a movie trailer. In abstract, you have to give a trailer of your movie. If your research is a movie, then give the trailer in abstract. I'll talk in details of it, of every section in the upcoming slides. But here you just keep in mind you have to answer these things in each section. For introduction, you have to answer what is the problem. Here you define your research question. Then in materials and methods, here you give the whole procedure, that how have you solved the problem, how have you found the answer, not the answer, but what is the procedure of finding that answer. Then comes results, that your mathematical data, your graph, your findings in terms of number. And then comes discussion. In the result section, you will not talk about your data, you will just give the data. In discussion, you will talk about that how, which data is good, which data is not correct, what is the meaning of different data, how you comparing them. Those things comes under discussion. Where that's why it's written what does it mean, means what does your result mean. Then comes acknowledgements, and you know already that whoever have helped you, generally in laboratories what happens is they work as a team. There is PhD students, MSc students, PhD students, they work as a team, they help each other. In fact, the professor as well, sometimes postdoc students. So those are the acknowledgements. They have helped. Maybe you, in your research you have used 3 or 4 softwares. Within that, one software you don't know anything, but you needed some output from them. So you have given your input to the specialized person of that software, and he did all the thing and gave you the output for your further research. Like that as people help you in different kind of section of in your research. Here you mention their names. Then comes literature cited, that referencing, that I have already told you what to do, how to do. I'll talk about it in the upcoming slide. And extra information. So what happens is in some journal, in some conference, they will give you an extra space for writing all your extra information. Like maybe you have written a code. So generally people don't mention the code in papers. At least in AAA, I have not seen it. You can mention the rules in appendix in that extra space. Even sometimes the method is so long that you cannot mention each and every step in your method section. So what can you do is you can just mention the important steps and the other related steps. You can refer that see the appendix section or extra information section if it's given in that specific journal or conference. It will be also said in the template or in the rules guide that the journal or conference paper have published. I'm talking about the editor, that journal editor or conference editor, whoever the organizer is. They will mention everything about it. Where is your extra information section and where you have to write this extra things. So now I'm going to talk about title. So first, you are gonna select your title of your paper. Then what would be the name? Generally, it's 15 words or less than that. And what should be those most specific 15 words? Let's say you first of all you have to pick up keywords from the research that you have done. So that keyword and play with the keywords, make a line. It will be a sentence. That's what your title is. Let's say uh, you most of you guys have no, most of you guys have learned about Boolean algebra, right? So let's say what we do in Boolean, what is the use of Boolean algebra? Sometimes we have sum of products. So using Boolean algebra, we can find the canonical form of it. In a in a in a sentence, in easier meaning, it has a less logic. So from a SOP, you can find a less logical form of it. Easier form of it which contains less logic but don't impact the output. Uh, how can you do it? Using Boolean algebra, using K-map, and some other methods are there, like QM method. So let's say you have found a window to using QM method. You can write a program in C language, which can also give you canonical form of the SOP. So this is your research. Let's say this is your research. So how should you organize the title? So your main words are K-map, your main words are canonical form, SOP, your new algorithm. So you can write it in this way, like developing a novel algorithm using K-map to find canonical form of a SOP. That's how you will pick up the very gist points, gist keywords of your research and make a sentence which can give an overview of your research so that the reader can understand your purpose, your scope, your methods. See, here you have also mentioned your methods, like you are using K-map. Then comes abstract, the most important part, not for writing only, it's important for reading also. Whenever you read a paper, abstract and the conclusion is the main part which will give you the complete overview of a research paper. So for you, when you're writing, also it's very much important. Generally, it's in 300 words. And most of you are confused about tense. Don't confuse about it. It's always past tense. Whether it's past perfect or whatever the form is, it's always in past tense. Write it in past tense. Sometimes it comes in present tense, one or two line, or some specific definition that you are going to do that come in present tense. But generally, it's always in past tense, and maintain the tense. Whatever you are taking, past indefinite, past perfect, whatever you are taking, just maintain the tense throughout your paper. In abstract, it should reflect your objectives, your methods, your findings, and your recommendations. So that's what your abstract. But what you don't do here is don't mention the process that you are doing it. Don't go in detail. Don't interpret it. Don't speculate. Okay, and don't give any acronyms. That's the things you have to avoid from abstract. Just as I said before, just give a trailer of your movie. That's your research. And then comes introduction. So I'm going through the writing order, but always remember whenever you are writing, whenever you are reading, first you go to abstract and then conclusion so that you can get an overview. So in a writing order, then comes introduction. So here you will give a context and your question, research question. So generally introduction have three parts. First part contains literature review, second part contains again literature review, and third part is your research question. Your the find why you are going to find, what you are going to find, that kind of question will come in the third section. So why I have said two sections for literature review. Let's take the previous example again. You are finding a new algorithm to find the canonical form of a SOP. So how can you organize the literature review is first you should go through how many methods are there, especially last 10 years or last 5 years, how many papers have been published on new methods. So pick up the promising methods and mention them. Go through those papers, abstract and conclusion. You'll find the overall idea. Most of the time, you don't even need to go in the details in the methods if you already understand the algorithm and the related field basics and all. So that's how you can, in fact, you can directly pick up the line also, pick up any single line also from introduction, from abstract or conclusion. Of course, you have to give reference in that case. That's how your first section of literature review covers. Second comes again literature review. It should be more specific. Like this time, what was your window from the example? You have used K-map and manipulated it in such a way so that new algorithm formed to find the canonical form of the SOP. So here you will find out the research paper related to K-map from last 5 to 6 years, and mention
Bhai,
those
can I
papers.
interrupt?
Yeah, sure. Hello.
All right, your slide was not showing the time. Now it's
So,
okay.
okay, maybe
Let's
network
continue.
issue, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, let's continue. Now it's
yeah.
okay. Fine.
So what I was talking about is section two, second section of literature review. So in second section of literature review, we are going to be very, very specific about the literature that you are following for your research. Like was in the example, uh, you have taken K-map algorithm and manipulated it. So you should review a lot of papers, especially last 2 3 years papers, who have mentioned something related to K-map. Take their references, take their ideas, mention it here that you got the idea from here. So this is the literature review of those papers. And finally, combining those literature reviews and your idea, you will form your research question here in the third section. That why you are going to find it, how your algorithm is going to, I mean, you will not mention that how your algorithm is going to help. It's for conclusion and discussion part. But your question should focus on this, that you can answer this question in conclusion and discussion, like on which basis you are doing this research. That the main question will come in the third part. So for this question, the reader will continue reading your paper till the end, or at least till the methodologies, that what you are going to form or what you are going to find out through this research. Moving to the next slide, here comes the method. Here you form your hypothesis. Like, let's take the same example again. Like, how you form the new algorithm. It will come here in your hypothesis. Why you formed that? What is the window that you have seen from the previous papers? These things will come in the methods, and your methods should be in such a way that if anyone reading your methods, going through methodology, can reform and get the same output as you have mentioned, or as you have mentioned in your result section or in data section. So your method section should be so ex I mean, so easy, not in easy, so informative that anyone in further case reading your paper will be able to reform everything you have done. Let's say you have made a robot. So in your methodology, you should mention each and every steps you have taken to make that, each and every condition you have considered, and also mention the limitation that which condition you have not considered, in which condition it will not work, may not work. So that's comes in under limitation. That's not the limitation of your finding. That's the limitation in terms of your scenario. That's how that's the main gist thing you have to mention in your methods. And in methodology, the, the scenario could be different for depending on your context. Like if you are going to publish a paper, research paper that you have done your research on in laboratory, so your procedure will be depending on that. But in some cases, you don't even need any research to publish a paper. Those we call review paper. In that case, you need to go through a lot of paper related to a specific field. And what you do is you compare between the advantages and disadvantages of the ideas they have shared in their papers. So that's also a kind of paper. So that's a different case. That's why I'm talking. It will depend on your work that you have done in the research. The method will be different for different people in different cases. Moving to the next slide. Here comes results. Remember, you will not mention any result, any data, result, I mean graph, table, collected data from any sensors or any simulation uh, data that you have collected. You are not going to mention in method. That has to be mentioned in results. Here you will give your results as many ways as possible, because generally professors and reviewers like to go through this result section. And remember, before you write a paper, first select the results, fix the data, sign it, and authorize it that yes, it's all right, you can now go for publication. Because if your results changes in between your writing paper, then everything gets changes. Your title gets changed, your abstract gets changed, your introduction gets changed, conclusion, everything gets changed. So first you should collect and preserve your data, results, discuss with whoever you need to do, uh, like your professor, your guide, sign it, and confirm it that yes, it's done, you can publish it now. After that, you start writing your paper. So results means should be very much uh, fixed at this point when you're writing a paper. And here you will just mention the results, like let's say you have collected water sample from Dhaka to Chichagang, from every city, each and every city. So you'll mention the water name, you'll mention the city name, you'll mention the water rating, you mention the elements you have found in the water. That's it. Don't explain why the water rating is low, or why the water rating is high, why the arsenic rating is low or different here in this city. Don't explain anything in this section. You just need to mention uh, in a organized way your results, so that a reader can understand. Yes, the graph is going down here, case by case. The graph is going up here, case by case. That's it. The explanation comes after results in discussion part. Here you will discuss about your results, that what your results is actually talking about. The samples you have taken, maybe for some city is drinkable and for some city is not drinkable. So mention it, why, what is the changes there, how it changed, why the graph went wrong from a specific point. That kind of discussion comes here. Also your implications comes here, like why to implement it, your findings, your whatever you found in your research, uh, where I mean, what is the use of it? Why do you want to implement? In which scenarios it's gonna be very useful? These kinds of things you're gonna discuss here. You keep in mind that in discussion, don't repeat same result twice. Like, don't talk about same result twice or thrice. Maybe in a sentence, in one or two sentences, you are pricing a, you are explaining a result that is good, or you are explaining it in a positive way, and in other lines, maybe at the end of the discussion, you are again explaining the same result in a negative way. So it's kind of confusing thing, and when the reviewers give you review, these kind of questions can come. Then what do you mean by this? Once you are explaining this in a positive, now you are saying this is negative, that's all you are saying. So what's the finding? So this kind of issues shouldn't come. You should be very clear about your result, that's what it's saying, and just say those things, that yes, this is for this changes for this reason, that changes for the specific scenario consideration. This kind of discussion you're done in the discussion part. Then comes the conclusion, which is mostly similar like abstractions. So in abstraction, you have given overview of your work. In conclusion section also, you will give overview of your work as ending point. From the ending scenario, then you'll see that you'll talk about your methods, how you summarize your methods, you summarize your findings, and how it's helping to answer your question. And also, you will find some window. You'll give them some window for further research. That's the suggestion for your future work. That's the things you can mention in conclusion. It's also an overall summary. That's why I have told you, for reading and writing both purpose, abstract and conclusion is important. These two section gives a complete overview of a research paper. So I think this is we are mostly at the end of the slides. Okay, now I'll talk about reference. That I have told you, don't give any unnecessary references. Even if it's only two reference, or even if it's only three reference, three papers that you have collected information from, then only mention those three papers. Do not mention any unnecessary papers in your reference section. And remember, what should be the citation form style. It will be given already in your template, or the journal or reference you have selected, their rules guide, or their template. They will mention that which style should you follow, whether it's IEEE style or Harvard style or MLS style, whatever the style is, they will clearly mention it, that which one you should follow. So I'll now talk about how you can cite a paper. Here you can see a screenshot from IEEE. So if the editor or the organizer are asking, uh, have asked you to give the reference in IEEE format, then it's very, very easy. Trust me, you just need to go to IEEE Explorer, IEEE Library, uh, and find your paper from where you have taken some information or data. There I have marked a blue circle. I don't know you can see this or not. Hope you guys have noticed it. I have marked here the cite this button. Just click the cite this button from that paper. It will give you directly the IEEE formation format of that paper to cite, and copy that line, paste it in your reference section. That's it. You are done. Now the question comes, if the formation is different, if they're asking for Harvard style or MLS style, what will you do? Here I have mentioned the website. Cite for me, it's free. There are some other websites also. You can just normally Google that what are the websites for citation. So you can find a lot of websites. This one is my personal favorite. You can go to this website. What you need to do is, after going to the website, you will see a form. It is asking title of the paper, authors, date, related information. And those related information you will find in the paper that you have read before you writing the paper, or you have taken information. There it's all these things are mentioned. Take this information, put it in the website, select which style do you want, click OK. It will generate the citation, copy, paste it in your reference section. It is that easy. You don't need to even worry about it. You just need to know which formation the editors are asking for. That's it. And there are some questions one of your coordinator, Iftekhar, has shared with me. So let's see which questions I have answered, and rest of things I'll answer now. So method I have already talked about. How to search a paper. I hope I think I have talked about it at the beginning, but let's talk about this again. Uh, as I said, just go to Google Scholar from your browser, search the area that you are interested for your research. If it's related to artificial intelligence, just write artificial intelligence or recent papers of artificial intelligence. You will get the timeline also in the left side or right side of that website, that how recent or how old papers do you want to see. So it's all about Google Scholar. You can directly find it from Google Scholar, and from Google Scholar you will go to. They will refer you to some specific website for Springer, for Nature, for IEEE, let's say. But you have to have subscription of that websites. If you don't have subscription, you have to take it. There are some other ways which is not legal, so I cannot mention it in this formal seminar. So go to the next question. Let's go to the next question. That is research methodology. I have already talked about this section. How to write a literature review. That's also I have told you. You need to just go through abstract and conclusion. They have said about their research work. You can directly make your literature review from any papers abstract and conclusion. That is very easy. Software implementation, hardware implementation. I think this is a question. If in terms of hardware implementation, how should you mention it? In terms of software implementation, how should you mention it? So if this is the question, then in terms of hardware implementation, let's say you have made a robot. Yes, obviously you can take a picture of it, but in all cases you cannot do that. At best, you can give one or two picture of it, but it should be edited in such a way that you have mentioned each and every part. Okay, that each and every sensor, edit that picture, indicate that in that picture that which one is the sensor for detection, which one is the sensor for moving, which one is the communication module. So mention all those things in that picture. And for other sections, what you need to do is draw it in a drawing tool. Draw the specific parts. You don't need to draw exactly the parts look like. You can just draw a box and name it that it's a communication module, it's a motor, it's a sensor. Like that, you can just name it and show them the connection, so that whoever reading it can reform it. Because maybe from here, like when you are researching from Bangladesh, then you are getting you can see some specific kind of module for communication. In other country who is reading your paper may didn't have seen this kind of module ever before. So what he will do in for that case, you should you should do generalization of these equipments. Name it why you so that the reader can understand why you are using those parts, and they can reform it as they want. In terms of software, as far as I know, you don't need to mention your code. You don't need to give your code, the source code. What can you do is you can make a flow chart and mention that. You can make a flow chart or working principle for each and every function, each and every uh, coding part that you're using, and yes, the flowchart will work for the rest. But yes, you can mention your code in extra section, like I have said at the beginning of this presentation. They will mention the organizer will mention that do you have an extra space for giving extra information or not. If they give this that space, you can mention uh, give a code there. It's not mandatory. But yes, do mention your software name and how you have changed the software configurations and all in the methodology, so that uh, the reader can regenerate whatever you have done. Then comes results. So in the result section, I have talked about it, and comes how to cite a paper or referencing. That's already done. Uh, Difference between a conference paper article. Okay, so this is a very good question. Conference paper and journal article. What is the difference? So basically, a conference paper generally 2-3 page, 3-4 page, but a journal article generally 7 to 8 page minimum. That's the basic difference you'll see. And in conference paper, you have a timeline. Within this timeline, you have to publish. But in journal paper, you don't have any timeline. In conference paper, you have to present your paper. In journal article, you don't need to present it. You just need to upload it in their portal. Then what happens? Generally, journal paper is much more serious thing. It's much more related to serious researches. And in conference, what happens is it's a kind of get together of professors and researchers to talk about the new trend, what's going on, and what people are focusing on nowadays, kind of thing. So here, if your work is pretty much novel or contains a good idea, a new idea, something new, then you can easily publish your conference paper within this timeline. But in journal paper, it's very serious research. Like the reviewer will be very experienced one. Like let's say you have uploaded a paper to publish, which is related to Python program. So a very expert on Python programming, who is very expert on it, he will review your paper and he will give you feedback. And most of the time, in one feedback, you'll not going to publish the paper. It takes 3-4 months, sometimes a year, to publish a paper until the reviewer is happy with your paper. He will suggest you necessary changes. He will suggest where he don't understand. He will suggest where it is not relevant. You have to impress him by changing those things. It's the kind of two-way communication. You will be in touch with him with the review. So you will recorrect. He will give you again review. You will again recorrect. He will give you reviews again. So this is a two-way communication. Until or unless he is satisfied with your paper, he will not let you publish it. That is journal paper. And comes conclusion. Okay, so conclusion part is also done. Okay, so I'm give you overall package idea about softwares that can help you to write a paper. There are so many softwares in the market, but I found these 4 softwares can work like a package for you. Like my first one is Microsoft Visio. So second one is AutoCAD. Both are for drawing. AutoCAD is more heavy software. So I found Microsoft Visio is a easy one to draw your circuits, to draw your diagrams, to draw your flow chart. It's easier one. Don't take a screenshot. This is just technical suggestions. Don't take screenshots. It's not convenient. Draw it. Make a JPG format. Take the JPG format directly to your paper and paste it. Do it in this way. It looks good and it's recommended. Then comes LaTeX. You may lot of you guys, many of you guys don't know about LaTeX. I think so, because I didn't know when I was in DSC. It's a very powerful tool to write a paper. Now, paper writing also have different templates for different conferences and different journals. So they have so many different templates. So what LaTeX does is, LaTeX has its own syntax, its own form of writing. You just need to give your paragraphs, pictures, data in LaTeX format, and select in which kind of what kind of template you want to write your paper. So LaTeX will convert it into that template. You don't need to worry about spacing. You don't need to worry about font size and everything. LaTeX will do it for you. Then comes grammar. It's always recommended check your grammar before you submit it. So Grammarly is one of the greatest tool in this field. I think I'm done with it. Yes, I'm done with it. I don't know if there is any question answering session or not. Those questions I have collected from Iftekhar, and I think I have answered most of them.
Well, Bhaiya, thank you so much for your wonderful explanation. The way you did explain it is such kind of beneficial, and I think it will be so much beneficial for them to those are willing to write a research paper, or those are willing to submit it, or something like that. And thank you so much, Bhaiya. And in this session, we will have a question answer session. And in this session, we do ask our speaker from the audience or some random questions they asked in our. So I'm gonna ask you accordingly.
Yeah, yeah, sure.
So may I?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Let's start.
So some of us asked that how do we interpret our observation result in social research objectively? Like, do you think an observation can be enough to explain social phenomena or something like that?
Sorry. Last line again.
Like, do you think an observation can be enough to explain social phenomena or something like that?
See, your observation is the your creating part. Uh, in paper, you have to have bring something new. That's your creative part, right? That's important in terms of observation. If you observe the things happening around you, you can find you can bring new ideas. That's important. But if you don't go through a lot of background of that area, go through research papers, you cannot relate or you cannot find a way out of your question. So observation is important. Yes, that's for your create, new creating part. But but for knowledge, yes, you have to go through first research papers. Otherwise, you cannot easily relate those things with your observation and your knowledge.
Okay, all right. So the second question is, someone is asked that what is the method of maximize the acceptance of our research paper manuscript?
What's the method of maximizing research paper manuscript?
Maximize the acceptance of our
Okay,
research
okay. So
manuscript.
it's a very good question. I'm glad that you have asked this question. Never get hearted if you got rejected. Okay,
Yeah.
so what happens? Let me talk about journal paper, because journal papers acceptance is less than conference paper. Generally, in conference paper they accept generally 25% to 50%, but in cases of 50% is very less. It's on average 25% to 30% papers get accepted.
Okay.
So if you got rejection, it's it's not a matter at all. Why I'm talking about journals? Sometimes PhD peoples spend a whole year, maybe more than a year, to publish one journal paper. That much rejection they receive. So at the beginning of that, what happens is when they reject you, they give you suggestion that why they have rejected you.
Okay.
Okay, maybe you have not seen those windows or those opportunities in your research, but when he
Like
has
when they
rejected with some reason,
like
then you
when
know
they
what to.
reject me,
Yeah,
like when they reject me, they just do mention that what was my
yes,
mistake,
yes.
like
They
that.
will obviously mention why they have rejected it. Okay,
Okay.
then you will find out the what is lacking from your research.
Okay.
It's like a cricket match. You got 300 of
Okay.
chase, so you know your target, how you have to bat. Okay,
All right.
but when you don't know your target, it's kind of
Okay.
whatever you do, just do it, right?
Okay.
So that's how
So
you can improve your acceptance rate. That you have to go through the reviews and you have to fill up those gaps. Uh, don't get
okay.
hearted and
So
don't just move on. If you move on for another paper, also same thing can happen. That you got rejected
yeah.
and you get depressed. So what you have done is you have changed your topic. You have done another paper. Now in another paper there is a chance you can get again rejection because you have not filled up the gaps there is there
Yes.
in your paper.
Exactly. So, what will you say about the plagiarism section?
Yeah, plagiarism section. To be frank, generally you will not get caught in conference paper.
Okay.
Uh, in thesis, if they check, yeah, you'll get caught. It's not about getting caught and all. It's about ethics. Uh, in papers, you have a way to copy things. Like
Is
you
there
just
any
refer
limitation
it.
of percentage of plagiarism?
Sorry.
Is there any
Yeah.
limitations of percentage of plagiarism that
It
we
depends on
copy?
conference to conference, journals to journals. It depends. They
Okay.
give a percent, but generally, what happens is, uh, why you do plagiarism? You need to copy something from other paper, right?
Yes.
And that is allowed in research paper. You can copy. The way to copy is you have to give reference. That's it. You are just not
Okay.
giving reference. That's why you are getting plagiarism, right?
Okay.
So that's actually unnecessary. You just refer it. You have no limitation. You can give as much as reference you want. You have no limitation. Wherever you
Okay.
are thinking that you are writing something, you are going to write something which is already mentioned in other papers. Just after that line, give the reference. You know the referencing system, right? Give the reference number 1, 2, 3, 4. After that line, give that reference number. You can give as much as reference you want. So that's how you can skip plagiarism and still you can copy the things that you want. Generally,
All
that I
right.
have told in literature review section. You anyway you have to copy things. Sometimes in hypothesis also you have to define something. The definition is already done. You are going to add some new things, but you have to mention the old things also. So how can you mention the old thing? You have to copy it from somewhere. So better you can write it in your own word. And another thing, whether you are writing in your own word or you are copying from other paper, please give reference. It's beneficial for
All
the
right.
paper also who has written this from where you are taking the reference. That's something.
Okay, so the next question is one of us asked that should I use academic vocabulary or general vocabulary for writing my paper?
Yeah, it will improve with your experience always. Most of the time reviewers will give you review that the English language is not up to the mark. I have also
Yeah.
got this kind of yeah. I
Okay.
have seen in PhD students also they have got this kind of reviews. That's why I've told you that Grammarly software is very beneficial.
Yes. Yes.
It will clear your grammars, and obviously try
Yes.
to use as much as possible academic words, not in general words.
Okay. So finally, I'm gonna ask you about your perspective. That what is your motivation for writing a research paper? What is actually
Yeah.
your motivation?
Okay. So here my motivation is also the same. I have mentioned a slide right in the
Okay.
at the beginning of my presentation that why you are writing papers. So until or unless I'm become a professor, I'm not going to write paper for funding. But yes, I'm going to write paper for a better career because I have to first impress some professor that yes, I can publish really good journal papers.
Okay.
Only after that I can get some funding for my PhD program. So that's my motivation actually to for
All
the
right.
development of my career in a word.
All right. So
Yeah,
thank you so much, Bhaiya, for joining with us. It was a very good time to spend you with the whole live session, and you did a very good job with your explanation. And I think it will be very, very, very helpful for them who are willing to writing a research paper and who are already been started for writing a research paper or going to be submit very soon. So I think it will be very beneficial for them, and I hope they are
yeah,
seeing you and your the lecture, whatever it is. So thank you so much for joining with us, and hope we will see you soon. And uh, thank you for joining, and we wish you a very good luck and stay safe and stay well with your family. Thank you so much, Bhaiya.
thank you. Thank you very much for having me.
You're most welcome. So, viewers, hope we did pass a very good time with you all, and it was a very nice seminar held with all of you, and I think this was very, very, very much informative for all of you who are willing to uh, work with research paper and some stuff. So try your best and wish you very good luck, and hope we will see you soon. Till then, take care and Allah Hafiz. Good night.